And so, as of now, you have told that you have traveled a lot. So, which places you have traveled, like in India?
In India, my last big cycle journey was from Kanyakumari to Nepal.
Okay, so from deep south to
north. Yeah. So that took me 2 months.
In 2 months, you did it?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
It is not for everybody. I'll say, all of us have our own comforts, and things that we like. For many years, I traveled by myself and done things like that. So I like seeing places, but I also people criticize me for this, but I deeply believe that people are good.
Any bad experiences you had while cycling?
No, I didn't have bad experiences. I had experiences where I felt kind of scared, but in general, I felt very safe. I think people were curious. Who are you? Where are you from? What's your YouTube? This is the question. First question: what's your name? What's your YouTube?
So you have YouTube also?
I don't have YouTube.
Okay.
I don't have YouTube.
सो हेलो एवरीवन, हेलो एंड वेलकम टू माय न्यू वीडियो। आज के पॉडकास्ट में जो हमारे गेस्ट हैं, लोगों का क्या सपना होता है कि उनको अपने स्टेट से अपनी गाड़ी लेकर के लेह लद्दाख जाना होता है, ठीक है, बाइक से, कार से, जैसे भी हो। बट इन्होंने कन्याकुमारी से काठमांडू 2 बार करा हुआ है, वो भी साइकिल से। और मतलब कई स्टेट से होकर के साइकिल इनकी गुजरी है, इवन मध्य प्रदेश के चंबल से भी। तो काफ़ी सारी स्टोरीज हैं। इन्होंने इंडिया को छोड़ करके इंडिया के अलावा भी कई सारी कंट्रीज़ में साइकिल चलाई है। तो ये वीडियो मैंने रिकॉर्ड करा था 27 मई 2024 को, मनाली की वीडियो है ये, बट काफ़ी लेट अपलोड कर रहा हूँ मैं इसको, ठीक है। और इसमें थोड़ा सा फ्रेमिंग में दिक्कत है, तो थोड़ा सा माइंड मत करना। एंड प्लीज़ वॉच द वीडियो टिल द एंड, आपको कई सारी स्टोरी सुनने मिलेगी और बहुत सारी चीज़ें पता चलेगी। मैं चाहता कि तो ये वीडियो बाद में वापस बना लेता, बट क्या था कि अब ऐसी पर्सनैलिटी बार बार नहीं मिलती। उनके साथ मैं मिला, जब बैठा तो पता चला ब्रो he is something else. So watch the video till the end and keep supporting, and please welcome Mr. Caldwell Manners.
Hello, Mr. Caldwell.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
How's life?
Good. I'm happy. I'm in Manali. Why?
Just chilling?
Just chilling.
So what's the plan after Manali?
I'm traveling to Leh
Okay.
for the next few months. So yeah, I came to Manali to start my journey from here.
So how are you traveling? Like
To Leh?
Yeah.
So I'll be traveling by a cycle.
Bicycle. Okay.
Yeah. I've been cycling a lot, so I just thought it'd be a good idea to see the landscapes and take him in slowly from here to there. And we've all seen the pictures, no? People traveling by
motorbike and car
and all of that. But I think it's very different to see the world from the perspective of a cycle.
Yeah, it is. And actually, while I was coming from the Atal Tunnel, I saw one guy, and he was like paralyzed or disabled. So, and he was going to Leh or I don't know wherever, and he was by his that cycle, yeah, hand cycle. And I don't know how people bring this much courage, but I don't have, because I was trying to go to Leh, but the thing is, in between, my like, what do we say that? My mood changed, and I was little scared that it's too far, a two-wheeler. How is this possible? That's all. But yeah, actually, I'll pray to God to have, so that you should have a nice trip.
Oh, thank you.
So how long you are staying in Leh?
I'll be staying in Leh for 3 months. Yeah. I work remotely, so I'll be working from Leh, and then I'll run and I'll cycle and I'll get to see places around Leh, the mountains. I love being in the mountains, so I'll get to enjoy the mountains for a while. Yeah.
So like, what do you work for?
I'm a communication specialist for a human rights organization.
Okay.
So we work with human rights activists around the world so we want to create safe spaces for them to do their work. So many times human rights activists' lives are threatened because they're critical of very important issues that many people who have a lot of money do not want to, it exposed, right? So usually, many times these businesses, or let's say a mine, right, will take over the lives of the local people, destroy their lives, pollute the water, destroy the landscape, the environment. And many times people from the community will say, no, we don't want this. And when they start protesting, many times their lives will be threatened, or their families will be killed, or they will be killed. So we work to create safe spaces for people like this, to have a voice that they can speak and tell their own story, ask for their own demands. But what we want to do is help find protection and security for them to do that.
Okay, so what do you think? Like, Indian people are getting their rights properly or not?
No.
Okay. Like, how? How? Will you please elaborate the thing?
Yeah. I mean, I think India is a country where the respect for the basic dignity of persons is very challenging. It's very challenging to. There's so much poverty, for example.
Yeah, actually it is.
Right? And I think it is a job of us as a society, of as a government, as citizens, to make sure that the most vulnerable in our society are given the most importance. When the most vulnerable in our society are given the most importance, all of us do well. But if the richest and the most powerful are given the most importance, the poorest get left out.
Yeah, and actually there was this case, in Pune. I think you might have heard about it. Like the one car crash.
Right, recently. Yes,
Recently, yeah, and it's it's a volcano on the social media.
Yeah.
Everybody is posting up for that only. So and I think that guy was like freed by the police just by writing some essay or something.
After killing 2 people.
Yeah, after killing 2 people, and he got bail. I don't know how things are working here.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I don't know the details of the case, but what that in general highlights is that the application of law is different for people with resources and with wealth and with connection than the ordinary
people. Yeah, and even ordinary people, when they go in a police station, they are not treated properly.
Yeah.
Police misbehaves. The thing is, and in most of the cases, these things happen only with the people who are not educated.
But even I think one of the most important things for us in India, and I think India has a long history of activism, political activism, from everything from Dalit rights to mining rights to indigenous rights to political rights for political parties, student activism. There's a lot of history in India. But one of the most important aspects of us to be citizens is all ordinary citizens should have knowledge of their own political rights. Right? So if I go to a police station, if I file an FIR, what is the process? What are my rights when I file the process? Because many times you file an FIR, the police do not receive it.
Yeah, actually.
Right? So what is my right there? And what is the police's job? What is their responsibility in that moment? And so having those types of basic education makes us aware of how we can defend our own selves, or also defend our friends and our family or the stranger on the streets. Because, for example, if you've seen India, in my travels as well, what I've noticed is that you'll see an accident.
Yeah, actually, and while I was coming back, I saw it.
Yeah, it'll be an accident, but nobody will do anything.
Yeah.
Right? This is not my job. If I touch it, I will get in trouble. Right? But then the question is, then where is our basic humanity? In this moment? We want to save this person, and we want to make sure that this person gets to a hospital or gets some kind of help that they need. Whatever, we might be on a scooty, we can't help, but we can maybe phone the ambulance.
Yeah, call ambulance.
We can do something. But many times we will just stand and look.
Yeah, or otherwise they will just keep their phone.
Yeah, take video.
And take the video of pictures.
Yeah.
It's
So
like
we need to act. We need to be people who understand what our responsibilities as citizens are and what can we do. So know the things that we can do. And then when the time comes, we are people who also act upon it. We shouldn't be afraid to act. Yeah.
And in today's world, most of the people they are fake. They're just pretending that they are not. So they are just trying to be someone else, and everything they are doing is for the sake of social media, so that they might got some likes and stuff. And people also like they look after the society, like whatever what they are thinking about me and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that happens.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
India, it's a big issue. The society is a big issue.
Yeah. How do you transform society? How do you change society?
Okay, so the question is on me.
I mean,
Actually,
that's a question for all of us
yeah.
to reflect on, right? How do we transform society? How do we make our society the kind of society we want to live in? Right?
So
And
like,
yeah,
I don't have a specific answer for that. But the thing is, I would like to know your point of view.
yeah,
I'll transfer the same question to you.
yeah. I mean, I think, like I just said, we have to be people who are engaged, who care enough about our neighbors.
Okay.
Right? We need to care enough that the people who live next to us have enough water. They might need food, right? They might not have a shelter. The roof might be broken, right? So we need to care enough for our neighbors. And like I said earlier, the most vulnerable in our society, right? The people who, one thing that we've seen in India, post-COVID particularly, is the amount of inequality that exists in India. India has few of the richest people in the world,
Yeah.
but has the most poor people
Most poor
in
people.
the world. Right? The person who lives on the street, the person who is the poorest, will make 80 rupees per day.
Yeah, and they have to survive in that one.
Yeah. Whereas India's, if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember the statistics correct, but it was something like this, that 0.1%
Mm-hmm.
of the richest people in India own more than 50% of all of India's wealth.
So this is like concerning.
Right? And then this one is eating
Yeah,
80 rupees per day, and this one is making crore per second.
crores, yeah. And like poor are becoming poorer and rich becoming rich.
Yeah.
So
that's why for us, the most important is if the poor has access to education, to food, to proper healthcare, right, to a safe place to stay, to be able to live without fear, okay, then all of us can enjoy that.
yeah, actually, where people are friendly and everybody is happy, then the country will also be happy and it will like rise.
Yeah.
So there was this thing running in my mind that like what is the cause for unemployment? Like what do you think? Do you believe that the government is the issue, or people is the issue, or the education system? What is it? Because in our country there is a lot of unemployment.
I mean, I can't give you a scientific answer because I'm not an economist to know the exact reason for unemployment in the country.
But I just want to know about your point
Just
of
generally,
view.
generally thinking and speaking, I think there's some responsibility in the government in creating employment, in creating investment so that jobs get created. But like one thing that I know specifically from my place where I'm from, I come from Shillong. Shillong is a small city. But the biggest employer of Shillong is the government. Everybody wants government job. In India also, everybody wants a government job, right? And so our children go to school so that they can pass UPSC or they can get, some army post, police post, like this, yeah, because there is security. They believe that there is security in that job. But what that does is it does not create enough incentive for us to be industrious, to produce
employment.
Yeah, produce employment privately as well. So there has to be, I think, some sort of a shift in our society that everything is not about the government. Right? So, you look at many social organizations also, they're helping, they run like a government. They become institutions like a government. So everything that Indian society is modeled after its government. And I think that creates for us a very limited mindset.
Yeah.
A very limited mindset, So I mean, I think the government's really has a very big responsibility. It is part of the government's job also, not only responsibility, it is their job also to make sure that people find employment, make sure that the kind of education is relevant for our society today, make sure that people are prepared for the workplace. Right? and it's an ever-changing world. So the kinds of jobs and the kinds of requirements that are needed for somebody to be prepared for the workplace has to change with time as well, right? But for example, in India, agriculture is our
agrarian nation. India's agrarian nation.
right? So we have to protect our farmers. We have to make sure that our farmers also
And they are like minority nowadays.
Yeah.
But they are the most important part of the society.
Yeah, I mean, they provide us our food. I mean, yeah, they provide us the food that we eat. But then there are many kinds of farmers, right? There's the farmer who has big machines and he has
Every
hundreds of
facility,
acres of land. And then there's that one farmer who, in the back of their house, has half an acre, right? And they grow just to eat. They don't even sell what they grow because it's not enough for themselves, right? So they I think a part of Indian society, our agricultural society, this is my personal belief, is that every Indian should have access to land and have the rightful determination of how they want to use this land. Because you look at Indian society, you look at many Dalits don't have access to land. Suicide among farmers in India, it is interconnected with the question of caste problems.
And the government had done a lot of things regarding to that. But the thing is, it's in the mind of people.
Yeah, we have to change as a society.
Yeah, change the
If there's a
mindset.
policy change, it has to become real, right? And if it doesn't become real, it doesn't change, right? And so, I mean, back in the day, I don't know if it happens today, but for example, if the shadow of a Dalit
passes through your body,
you have to go and bathe, right? I mean, you can't even think how are we, right, in today's world, right? But
they are human.
yeah, I mean, we have come a long way, and we still have a long way to go. But we want to make sure, if we want our society to be good, then the most vulnerable in our society has to be protected and has to be centered in our policy making. And the people, and like, for example, the people who've been marginalized, like the Dalits, who've been pushed to the margins, right? Like, they have to be brought, and we have to tell them that they are the special ones of our society, right? And then we want to make sure that they grow, they thrive, they have the opportunities, and when they do, we benefit as well.
And today, I was going to Hadimba temple, and there was this guy sitting with his daughter, and he was like playing some music. So I sat beside him on the ground only. So I had some experiences. Like people, they see them with a different like point of view. Like they are not, the treatment they give to those people is not good. When you experience it from their side, then only you'll know. And today I sit there for around 20 minutes with that guy beside him on the ground, and I saw that this is not the behavior that people should do. And I have an idea like regarding to that, the land issue you told me now, that the government should limit the amount of land that people can own, a particular person can own.
Yeah. So limit ownership of land.
Yeah. So like if I can, if one person can have only 1 acre of land or XYZ, whatever it is.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting idea. I think that's a very interesting
And it came just right now only while I was talking to you.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It's so if there's a limitation to how much people can own, then everybody can own something.
Yeah, something. Not much, but something, because all of the like most of the land is owned by some millionaires and billionaires in India. So everybody's like expanding, and we are humans, and there is a big difference between humans and birds. Birds only make nest in which they can sleep, and humans are like they just need to expand wherever they can. If they have one house, they are not satisfied, they'll buy another.
This is the nature of capitalism.
Yeah.
Right? Capitalism by definition is very predatory. It is always taking at the cost of someone else. Right? So if I take, you lose. Because limited resource, right? This is economic theory. There's limited resource. If I take my share, you have your share. Then I take your share also, then you have less share.
Less shares. Yeah.
Right? So it's about And that's what capitalism is about, no? And like you said, we as humans want to expand. Greed is so big. No, we want to just expand, and we do that at the cost of the lives and the livelihoods of other people in our society.
I have one experience regarding to that, which changed my like point of view, my to see the world. Like my grandmother passed away 3 months back, so there is this Riti Rivaj that we call Tervi, and in this, like people, our family will call all of the neighbors, and they will have food. So for picking up the plate, my uncle called some guys. So they were like these were small kids. Okay, so what they did was in plates, the left-outs. They took it and put it in some bags, and they took it home. The left-outs, the leftovers for their family to eat. And after saying that, I was like, oh my God, like we are very much happy, and we have a lot of things. People need to see these things. Yeah.
We need to be moved by each other's suffering.
And traveling will help a lot in this thing.
For sure.
And so, as of now, you have told that you have traveled a lot. So, which places you have traveled? Like in India?
In India, my last big cycling journey was from Kanyakumari to Nepal.
Okay, so from deep south to
north. Yeah. So that took me 2 months.
In 2 months, you did it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
So I traveled the coast of India from Kanyakumari up Karnataka, Maharashtra, up to Gujarat, up to Surat.
So in this, while traveling, you work also?
I work as well, yeah.
Okay.
I cycle in the morning from 5, 6 in the morning to lunchtime, and then I work after lunch. And so I cycle 5, 6, 7 hours a day, and then after that.
Like there are a lot of things to learn from you. Oh my God, like this much courage to have, because I can't do this.
It is not for everybody, I'll say. All of us have our own comforts, and things that we like. For many, many years, I've traveled by myself and I've done things like that. So I like seeing places, but I also, people criticize me for this, but I deeply believe that people are good in India. There are more good people than there are bad people.
Bad people.
You go to the corner of Maharashtra, you will find a good person.
So any bad experiences you had while cycling?
No, I didn't have bad experiences. I had experiences where I felt kind of scared. There were some experiences like that. Okay. But in general, I felt very safe. I felt people were curious. Who are you? Where are you from? What's your YouTube? This is the question. First question: what's your name? What's your YouTube?
So you have YouTube also?
I don't have YouTube.
Okay.
I don't have YouTube. I need to make one YouTube and put the sticker on my.
You should because you travel via cycle, and it's like a huge thing.
Yeah. So I didn't know. I didn't feel. I felt actually got a lot of hospitality. I met mango pickers who had come from Nepal to in Ratnagiri in Maharashtra, and they are picking Alfonso mangoes, and they are coming for 3 months, 4 months to work in the farms in Maharashtra. So I sat with them. I was riding through Karnataka, and the road was being made. Huh? So one guy from Bihar who's working on the road, making road, he stopped me. He said, "Chal, let's have lunch together." He took out his lunch. He gave half his lunch to me, and he was telling stories. We were talking. He's a worker. So from there, he just kind people, right? And then I was in what place is this? Near Khajuraho. Khajuraho. Yeah. And I was very hungry that day, and I just stopped under one tree, and there was this guy selling chana. Chana with pyaj and then he let me stay in his house. I slept in his house.
The experiences are like too good.
Yeah.
But while staying in someone else's house,
yeah.
So ever you felt like scared?
No. I mean, obviously, I felt comfortable with that guy. That's why I said yes. If I would have felt a negative energy, then I might not have said yes. But because I felt it was a positive interaction. I said, sure, let's do it.
So which state you felt like it's good rather than other states? Like which is it?
Uh, I was really surprised at UP.
Okay, Uttar Pradesh. That is my roots.
Yeah, I
That is
mean,
from.
because many times people think of Uttar Pradesh as a hard place,
Okay.
and stories that I have heard from, I'm not from Uttar Pradesh, people say it's very rough,
Crimes and all.
crimes and
Yeah.
all that. But then I felt like people were very friendly to
Very
me.
friendly. Uttar Pradesh people are very friendly.
Very friendly, yeah. And it surprised me. And I was very pleasantly, when I went to
Welcome.
pray, I was thinking, do I have to be careful? I was thinking like this, should I be more attentive? And people were friendly, people were very friendly. I would stop in a shop to drink a Coca-Cola or something like that because I was thirsty. And they said, don't take it, free. So, what are you doing here? Take this.
This
Give me banana, give me apple, give me fruits. But one time when I was in Madhya Pradesh, in Madhya Pradesh, there's many stories of Takaithi.
Yeah, that is the Chambal, I
area,
guess.
no? And so I knew I was going to go through this area, so I had looked in the news whether in recent days there had been any incidents, so just to be prepared.
Yeah.
And then I didn't see anything in the news, and so I went that morning and I stopped to drink tea, and I met a group of teachers,
Okay.
school teachers, and they bought me breakfast, and they were telling for half an hour we were standing there sharing stories, and then they told me which way to go, and so it was a very hot day, very hot day. And they said, don't stop anywhere, you just go. And so I didn't stop. I just, whenever I would feel thirsty, I would stop in a town, have a water or something like this, and then I'll go. But everybody in all the towns would tell me, don't stop anywhere, just go. And then I was why is this, And then the Chambal Valley, after that I came, you rise out of the valley to the top, and there was a police station. Not a police station, police checkpoint.
Okay.
So I stopped at the police checkpoint and I went to talk to the police and say hello and have my water and my snacks while waiting over there. And the police said to me, nobody stopped you? I said, no, police didn't stop. I said, I saw the police, but they didn't stop me. And he said, this is the most dangerous place in Madhya Pradesh.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I came, no problem. What I experienced was people being kind to me in these places. Okay. I didn't feel threatened. Maybe I was lucky.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it was just people not interested in who's this weird person riding a cycle. Maybe that's the issue as well. But I think when you travel, if you travel with negativity, you're very afraid, and you don't have the courage to be curious about things, about other people's lives, about how they live, about their families, about what are important things for them. But if you're afraid, you can't have those conversations.
Yeah, and we can't explore.
Yeah, but when you're positive and you see the good in other people, you're interested. You're interested in
In communicating and all.
communicating and all that. My negative experience was I was thinking whether I should share it, but I think it's an important thing to share because it's very important in our country. And one thing that we know in our country, Hindu-Muslim
This thing
problem
happened,
is
yeah.
very, very big. And I was traveling once, and I was going to Ayodhya.
Okay.
On the way, I
Yeah.
was going to Ayodhya, and it was in some village, country road.
So like which year it was?
This was 20 March 22.
2022.
March 22. And two guys came on a motorcycle beside me like this. And have selfie, chalo, let's take selfie. Where are you from? And I stopped and I said, chalo, let's take selfie. And then he said, where are you going? I said, Ayodhya. So when I said Ayodhya, I think they thought I'm a Hindu.
Okay.
Which is okay, if you think that way. But then they said, our problem in our country is we have to. He told me that. And I was like, I was afraid. I didn't want to talk anymore.
Anybody will be.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk to him. And I said, I have to go. It's very late. I have a long way to go. So and I was very shocked. And that was one of the most scariest things of encountering not problems on the way, but encountering
Such people.
violence that people also have the capacity to be bad. People also have the capacity to be hateful, to be violent. So being realistic about those kind of issues as well that exist is part of traveling. And if in positivity, you still engage with them, right?
Yeah.
Right? You still do that, but then you have to be careful also. I don't want to sit too long with them because I don't know where the conversation will go.
Go, yeah, actually.
Right.
And it's not right.
Yeah.
Because whenever you feel like this guy is not right, then
Yeah.
just leave the place.
Yeah. So you have to be careful. You have to be cautious that way as well. Another time in UP, I had stopped in this uh, just on the side of the road. I was eating something and drinking some water, and this guy came. He's some farmer.
Okay.
And he came to me and he said, "Oh, what are you doing?" He said, "You want water? I live just here. Come have water." And I said, "No, no, no." He said, and we started talking. He said, "Oh, I used to work in Shillong."
Okay.
And he forced me to stay in his house. He said, "No, you must not go today. You have to come and stay in my house."
So you stayed there?
Yeah, I stayed in his house with his family and everything. So like, there's such nice people, right? He had no connection to me except that 20 years ago, he worked in Shillong.
Shillong.
And he was so happy that he met somebody from
From
Shillong,
Shillong.
that he's like, "You cannot go. You have to stay one day."
So these are the experiences. Have you ever had any weird experience?
Weird? No, nothing really weird.
Anything?
Nothing really weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
So rather than India, in which other countries have you traveled?
The only thing that I would say about traveling in India is don't travel, like as a cyclist, don't travel on highways. It is the most dangerous part of the travel because the trucks and cars are moving very fast. And so they'll just touch you also, you will fall.
You will be fall, yeah.
And so I will always look for village roads like this. But then that's where the surprise is.
Surprises happen.
Yeah. But highway is boring, the most boring part.
Most boring part. Nobody stops there.
Yeah.
And there's nothing.
Yeah.
So, and never mess with trucks. I have this is my motto. Never mess with trucks. Just stay away. 20 meters.
Yeah. Yeah. They're dangerous, very dangerous.
Very dangerous because they will crush you and your body will be like flat.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Just stay away. So in which countries you have traveled except India?
I've traveled quite a few countries.
Right.
I traveled in South America, Argentina, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Mexico, Venezuela.
So you cycle there? Like you.
No, I haven't cycled in those places.
Okay.
Colombia, I used to ride a motorcycle. Okay. I used to ride a motorcycle. But then I've traveled. Traveled in those countries. And I've traveled in US, Canada. I've traveled in France, Spain, Italy.
So how much country is it? Like,
Switzerland.
yeah, do you have any number?
About 25.
25 countries.
25.
Okay, like that's a huge number.
Yeah.
So which country you feel like the one safest?
Safest. Switzerland.
Okay, Switzerland. And less safe, the one which was not safe.
Less safe. Well, I think the experience is different as a tourist, and the experience is different
As a citizen.
As a citizen. The experience of safety is very different. Because in tourist, you're only in tourist area, and mostly generally safer areas. So I think that's a very different experience. So it's hard to say, but I think all countries, like for example, Latin American countries, are generally very very safe, but there's a lot of armed robbery. So
Armed robbery.
right, so like you're walking on the streets of Bogota,
Okay.
somebody will come and put a pistol in your hand and give me your phone.
It happens in India also.
It happens in India, also, right? So usually big cities are like this.
Yeah.
Usually in big cities. But I think in India I feel more safe. Like in India, I don't mind walking with the phone in my hand. Right? I haven't experienced
That's why.
that in India.
But this thing happens. Even my friend had experience. He was like doing something in his phone, and the biker gang came and snatched it.
Snatch his phone. Yeah.
So
So I
this is
think
the issue.
yeah. So those kind of issues happen, but unsafe. Mm, I don't know if there's a country that I would say that I feel unsafe. I think if I would go to a certain area in a certain country, that there are places that I have felt unsafe. But as a country, it's really hard to say. Even to say which is safest is very hard to say. I don't think. But I think um, safety is also about being aware, and I think that's the biggest thing about traveling is being very attentive, being very observant, being, like you said, positive, but also being knowledgeable a little bit, at least basically, about current context in your city. What kind of city is it? Have there been problems? And in that way, you get to engage also with the experience of the normal citizen.
Okay, so like, how do you manage like traveling this much and work?
Many of it was for work also. I've traveled.
Okay,
Like, for example, I lived for 6 months in Iraq. I've
in
worked
Iraq.
in Iraq.
Okay,
I worked in Iraq, but I felt super safe in Iraq. I've traveled to many villages in Iraq with loveliest people. I've stayed in villages. But when I was in Iraq, I was in the Kurdish area. So 80 kilometers to the west of us was area controlled by ISIS, which was
okay, yeah,
super dangerous.
super.
I didn't go there, obviously. But like, it really depends on your context. Right?
Fine. But it is like a tough job to do. To manage all these things, you have to work and
Yeah,
travel.
a lot of like when I work in my travel in Iraq was for work. I worked specifically with the specific context. But a lot of us was travel. I think it's manageable. It's manageable. It's
You
very
just need
manageable.
to be strong from here.
You just
That's it.
manage your time well. You know, sometimes you have to not go for the trek and you just stay in the hostel.
I did today.
Yeah, yeah, things like that. Make sure you take care of your body, eat healthy, exercise if you can. And in during travel, sometimes you might, you know, not really bother so much about your health and wellness, and your travel experience can be bad because you're not feeling healthy. So I think kind of being mindful of your body is very very important.
So there is this one political question I have.
Mm.
So you have visited a lot of parts in India and met a lot of people. So what do you think? Like, where is India heading in future?
Very,
What will be the position of India, like economically or some other factors?
yeah, I think India has a long way to go.
Okay.
I think India has, for example, we are proud that it is democracy, but it's a very skewed democracy. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's too much social issues in India that we will not move forward if we don't take care of our social problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You might find Gurgaon with nice, but that is it. Right? And then you go 50 kilometers from Gurgaon, then you're back in Kacha.
yeah.
Yeah? And so that's, if India is like that, then we will not move forward. It is only those who have the wealth that they will be getting more crores, that the poor will continue to be poor. And so if India is to move forward as a country, we need to have greater equality, greater distribution of wealth, greater access to education, to healthcare, to safety, to housing, to food for our people. Otherwise, we're going to just we're going to live in a state of imbalance for a long time, and then usually things like that always create more unrest in society.
So do you think like in last 10 years in India is changed something like little bit on?
Everything changes. I think there's always change in the last 10 years, last 20 years, last 30 years. There's always been something good that has come. So you can't, different governments will come and then they'll do their thing. Like this government, for example, will proudly say we've made roads. Yes,
Yeah, they've made.
they've
They
made
have
roads.
made.
Yeah, they've made roads. But for example, I'll give you an example. In my area, Meghalaya, there is uranium.
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 Okay. In
In
the
the
ground.
ground.
Okay.
Right? And the government, UCIL, Uranium Corporation Limited of India, the government PSC wants to mine this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the story of uranium mining in Jharkhand, many people have died or have deformities because of the way uranium was
Exposure.
mined.
Exposure to uranium. Okay.
Right? And so people in my state do not want uranium to be mined because it's dangerous. Right? And so there's been pressure by the government to do that. And so how? Well, the government, they made very nice roads.
Yeah.
Now there is roads from uranium area outside. So the best roads are close to the uranium mining. Why? So that you can transport uranium. Not because the lives of the people will be better,
For the transport of
but for the
uranium.
transport of uranium. So I might make roads, but I might not make roads for people. I might make roads for industry.
Yeah, yeah. So like it's what do we say? I don't remember that word. Matlabi.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not for the benefit of the people. Right? And so for me, that's very problematic. That's very problematic.
So have you visited there Assam? That is the temple Kamakya.
Kamakya. I haven't been. I live so close to Kamakya. Kamakya is like 80 kilometers. And we went from Shillong. We usually use the Guwahati airport if we are flying some other place. And Kamakya is like 10 kilometers or
From
less
the airport.
from the airport.
So you have been there?
I've never been to Kamakya. I've just been past Kamakya.
That's a very nice place. I haven't been there too, but I want to go there, visit once there. And there is also the issue. The government want to make a project like to make that temple huge and more tourist friendly. So there is that story that in the ground of that mountain in which the temple is, there is some natural source of water. So in the premises of temple, after the statue or whatever it is, so there is a continuous flow of water, and nobody knows from where it comes. So if government will like make any kind of changes, so they might ruin the ecosystem of that mountain. So it will totally there will be no use of that temple. It will leave it divinity. So that is the issue. Government, for the sake of profit, they do it.
Yeah.
And people are opposing that thing to not to do it. So have you ever experienced any horror experience, like something like haunted types?
No,
You have traveled a lot, so
I've heard many haunted stories, but I have not personally experienced an
so
incident.
do you like meditate or something?
Yeah, I don't. For me, meditation is like for me to. I run a lot. I like running in the mountains. So for me, the process of running is very meditative for me.
I'll ask my gods to give you the strength and everything.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming. I had a really nice chat with you.
Very nice.
So hope to get you back on my podcast with some other experiences.
Yeah.